The federal government has approved a major natural gas pipeline project in British Columbia. Enbridge's Sunrise expansion is aimed at solving the pipeline's bottlenecks and meeting global demand. The CBC's Janice McGregor is on the story for us from Ottawa. She joins us now live. Hey, Janice. So what are the details of this expansion? It was just released earlier today. And why is it so significant for Mark Carney's government and the broader resource strategy here too?
For sure. For people unfamiliar with the natural gas pipeline network in British Columbia, we've got a map here. This is Enbridge's kind of main line. It starts north of Prince George. It goes all the way down through BC's interior to the U.S. border. This expansion at the points you can see kind of marked on the map is going to add some 11 new looping segments. It altogether represents about 139 kilometers of new pipe. This is a $4 billion project altogether. It substantially increases the amount of natural gas that can move through this system. A huge economic significance once construction gets underway this summer. Even the construction phase alone estimated to add some 2,500 jobs in BC. It's also significant in terms of the politics of resource development in this country because Enbridge on this has partnered with some 38 First Nations. And the company says, the government's been promoting this as well, that already, even in kind of the planning, the pre-stages of this before getting the final green light today, they've apparently already spent tens of millions of dollars partnering with local Indigenous businesses, hiring Indigenous people at the various points, trying to have a real partnership there. And then, of course, as you were just discussing with Willie, there is a geopolitical context for anything that expands Canada's ability to send its resources around the world. And this brings us to some testimony from Tim Hodgson, the Natural Resources Minister, yesterday at the House of Commons Natural Resources Committee, because he was talking about not this specifically, but the fact that as he travels around the world, talks to other countries, particularly in Europe, also in Asia, other countries really want Canada's natural gas. And he says he's hearing strong expressions of interest that suggest expansion not only in BC, but potentially in Eastern Canada would be prudent too. Take a listen.
I can tell you it's commercially sensitive, but several of those countries are in the process of inking contracts with different Canadian projects today.
So, wink nudge. More contracts means you need more capacity. This expansion apparently adds about 17% capacity to this line. But even more interesting is the way that this particular pipeline is going to hook up to another one to take it over to a new liquefied natural gas terminal that's being hosted by the Squamish First Nation that's called Woodfibre LNG. That project will be a net zero export facility for LNG, taking it to Tidewater, taking it onwards to markets around the world, particularly in Asia. The government believes that with this additional capacity, eventually they could be adding some $3 billion to Canada's GDP annually once it can get an awful lot more natural gas out the door.
So now, Janice, we know that the opposition is still really critical of the lack of progress on a West Coast bitumen pipeline. So what's the energy minister saying on that front?
Yeah, at that same committee, he was really grilled about the timelines for when we might expect to hear something substantial moving forward based on that MOU with Alberta's government. He was specific, Hodgson was, about how the timelines are dictated by the proponent, in this case, the Alberta government, which is still working on things. But we have now had a number of reports that the route for this pipeline is getting closer to being finalized. Nevertheless, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre yesterday still expressing real skepticism that we were really going to see some action from the Carney government on this front.
A year after Mark Carney promised to build at speeds not seen in generations, his promised pipeline to the Pacific has no permit, no route, no investor, no builder, no start date, no end date, and no oil to put in it.
Now, something that bitumen pipeline and this expansion of the natural gas pipeline may have in common is Indigenous participation. This very important to the federal Liberal government. It seems to be a theme running through a lot of the resource projects that are getting approval, getting backing right now. Hodgson told MPs yesterday that there could be federal money supporting this pipeline that Alberta has wanted for so long, but it would be doing it in the form of financing an Indigenous equity stake with loan guarantees, not direct taxpayer involvement or stake, but doing it through the Indigenous equity stake. So that definitely something to keep an eye on. We're probably going to hear more about all of this at noon today. Tim Hodgson speaking at the Empire Club with a keynote speech about a number of his resource project ambitions.
Janice, thank you for the latest on this. That's
You're
the
welcome.
CBC's Janice McGregor reporting from Ottawa.